Alright, imagine this. Every year, a mysterious figure called the Paintress paints a number in the sky. Just one number. And if your age matches or is higher than it, poof, you're gone. That's the twisted world of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and our crew, Gustave, Lune, Maël, and a few other brave souls, are on a mission to stop it. It sounds dark, I know, but don't worry. The journey is packed with vibrant moments, unforgettable characters, and some seriously stunning places that make the ride surprisingly fun, if a little terrifying. In today's video, we're diving into the best main locations you'll visit throughout the game. These aren't just random background zones, they're the heart of the story, each with its own vibe, secrets, and emotional punch. Whether you're exploring haunting ruins, crossing lush valleys, or facing surreal, dreamlike cities, every major spot on the continent adds something special to the adventure. So let's break them down and see which ones truly stand out. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. Monaco Station might be one of the smallest locations in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, but do not let its size fool you. This place is packed with atmosphere and importance. It is one of the few snowy regions in the game, which already gives it a very distinct vibe. The moment you step into Monaco Station, you are hit with this cold, isolated mood that feels both peaceful and unsettling. Slippery, icy pathways and quiet wind sounds make it feel like the world has frozen in time. And then you meet Monaco. Yes, this is where you finally add Monaco to your party, and it could not be a more fitting introduction. The entire area feels like it belongs to her. Quiet, reserved, but with something mysterious just beneath the surface. The standout moment is definitely when you reach the broken-down train station. It is eerily empty at first. Honestly, seeing something so familiar from the real world in the middle of such a surreal game world almost pulls you out of the fantasy. But in a good way. It is just so strange that it makes you pause. And then, just when you think this place might stay cold and lifeless forever, you take down the boss and boom! Minor characters start showing up. The station begins to feel more alive, more hopeful. It is a subtle shift, but one that makes Monaco Station feel earned. It goes from this lonely stop in the snow to a small, meaningful community hub. That transformation is exactly what makes this place so memorable, and honestly, one of the best main locations in the entire game. Gestral Village is that one rare spot in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 where the game finally lets you breathe. After battling through enemy-infested areas, stepping into this village feels like a quiet intermission in an otherwise chaotic journey. No ambushes, no sudden boss fights, just a peaceful little community that, surprisingly, still manages to feel a bit off. On the surface, it is the most normal place on the continent, but then you realize the villagers are constantly challenging each other to fights. Classic Clair Obscur, never fully letting you get too comfortable. What makes Gestral Village stand out is how interactive it is. You can walk around, chat with the locals, and pick up all kinds of details about the game's lore and world. This is also one of the best places to spend your chroma, especially early on. Whether you are upgrading your weapons, picking up new pictos, or just grabbing some flashy cosmetics for your team, Gestral Village feels like the calm hub between storms. It is a good place to regroup, experiment with your gear, and prepare for what comes next. That said, the village does not really evolve much as the story progresses. Once you have talked to everyone, bought what you needed, and soaked in the atmosphere, there is not a lot of reason to return. It serves its purpose well in Act 1, offering a much-needed pause and a sense of community. But after that, it quietly fades into the background. Still, for that short window of time, Gestral Village is a cozy little memory in an otherwise intense adventure. Spring Meadows is where it all begins, and honestly, it could not be a more perfect starting point for Clair Obscur Expedition 33. The moment you step into its wide open fields, you get hit with this sense of freedom that feels refreshing. After the linear introduction, being able to explore at your own pace, taking on enemies, discovering hidden gear, and just soaking in the atmosphere is a game changer. It feels like the developers really wanted to make a statement. This is the world you are about to dive into. What makes Spring Meadows so memorable is how much it packs into a single early game area. Optional bosses? Check. Multiple paths to explore? Check. Gorgeous, painterly landscapes that practically beg you to slow down and take it all in? Absolutely. It is not just an introduction to the gameplay, it is a preview of what makes this game special. You start realizing that exploration is just as important as combat, and that taking the longer route might reward you with something unexpected. The pacing here is also spot on. It is challenging enough to keep you engaged, but never overwhelming. Spring Meadows eases you into the world of Clair Obscur without ever holding your hand too tightly. By the time you leave this area, you are not just better equipped, you are fully immersed. It sets the tone for the rest of the journey, and honestly, a lot of the later zones are still chasing the magic this one delivers right out of the gate. Visages is where Clair Obscur Expedition 33 starts to mess with your head, in the best way possible. Up until this point, the game follows a mostly straightforward path, but right at the tail end of Act 2, it finally opens up. You get a choice, Visages or Cyrene. And while you technically can go either way, the game gently nudges you toward Visages first, and for good reason. It is weird, eerie, and unforgettable, but not overwhelmingly difficult, making it the perfect place to start this new branching path. The moment you set foot on the island, you know something is off. Giant stone faces are carved into the landscape, and they are just watching. Always watching. There is this strange silent pressure in the air, like the world itself is holding its breath. Visages somehow manages to be both beautiful and deeply unsettling at the same time. It does not lean into horror outright, but it plays with discomfort in a really clever, artistic way. The setting alone makes it stand out from almost every other location in the game. What really ties Visages together, though, is its structure. The area is divided into 3 valleys, each themed around a different emotion: anger, joy, and sadness. It is not just a stylistic choice either. Each path feels distinct in its own right. Despite the heavy emotional themes, it is actually one of the more straightforward areas to navigate, with clear routes and a manageable enemy presence. That balance between simplicity in design and complexity in mood makes Visages a standout moment in Act 2, a place that lingers in your memory long after you leave it behind. Lumiere is more than just a location in Clair Obscur. Expedition 33. It is the emotional core of the entire journey. You begin and end your adventure here, and the contrast between those 2 visits is staggering. In the prologue, Lumiere feels alive. The city is vibrant, full of color, music, and people who are just trying to live normal lives under extraordinary pressure. Even with the looming threat of the paintress hanging overhead, there is warmth in every corner. It is the kind of place that makes you want to stay a little longer, even though you know you cannot. Fast forward to Act 3, and returning to Lumiere hits like a punch to the gut. The once bustling streets are now silent. Buildings are damaged, the air is heavy, and that spark of hope you saw in the beginning, almost entirely gone. It is not just the city that has changed. Your entire party has grown, struggled, and been scarred by what they have endured. Coming back to Lumiere feels like coming full circle, but with the weight of everything you have seen pressing down on you. It is quiet, it is bleak, and it is hauntingly beautiful. But of course, this is where the final battle takes place, and it could not be more fitting. There is something poetic about fighting the last boss in the same place where your journey began. It is not just about defeating the enemy, it is about reclaiming something that was lost. Lumiere, in all its broken glory, becomes the perfect stage for the final chapter. It reminds you what you are fighting for, and just how far you have come since those colorful, fragile opening moments. Old Lumiere is where Clair Obscur Expedition 33 really leans into its darker, more atmospheric side. It is the 3rd major location in Act 2, and right away, it makes an impression. The first thing you are likely to notice are the massive golden swords driven into the earth, surreal, majestic, and almost sacred looking. Without them, the whole area would feel like a colorless void. But those swords break up the monotony and create this striking visual contrast that makes the decay feel almost intentional. It is like beauty and ruin are constantly clashing in every corner. The buildings here are crumbling, the sky feels heavy, and the floating stones give the whole area a dreamlike quality. Except it is more of a nightmare. Exploring Old Lumiere feels like you have stepped into a ghost story. You are wandering through the remains of a place that clearly meant something once, and now it is just echoes. There are no jump scares, but the horror comes from the atmosphere itself. It has that same creeping unease you get in games like Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Quiet, slow, but always there in the background. What makes Old Lumiere so effective is that it feels like a warning. It is a version of Lumiere that has been hollowed out, stripped of its life and color. There is this lingering question: could this be the future? The eerie music, the floating ruins, the stillness, it all pushes you forward, not just out of curiosity, but out of a quiet dread. It is not just one of the most visually memorable locations in the game, it is one of the most emotionally heavy. The Forgotten Battlefield is the kind of place that immediately pulls you in with its atmosphere alone. As the first major location in Act 2, it sets a heavy tone right from the start. You are not just walking through another combat zone, you are stepping into the aftermath of something massive. The sight of giant Nevron corpses slumped against broken barriers mixed with fields of human remains tells a story that the game never fully explains, and honestly, it does not need to. The silence says enough. Whatever happened here was brutal, and now you are left to sift through the wreckage. What makes this area so compelling is the sheer amount of visual storytelling packed into every corner. You might think it is just another battlefield, but the more you look, the more you start to notice. The placement of bodies, abandoned weapons, collapsed shelters, even strange carvings hidden in the trenches. It is grim, yes, but also oddly beautiful in a ruined kind of way. This is not an area you rush through. You're going to want to slow down and explore every inch, not just for the loot, but for the feeling that there is more to discover if you are paying attention. Despite its length, the Forgotten Battlefield never drags. Instead, it keeps you hooked with a constant sense of mystery and unease. The eerie quiet, the weight of everything that happened here, and the subtle clues scattered around make it one of the most immersive locations in Clair Obscur. It is the kind of place that leaves a mark, not just on your map, but in your memory. Flying Waters is one of those locations in Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, that completely redefines your expectations early on. As the second main area in Act 1, it hits you with a creative twist. You are literally walking on the ocean floor, yet everything feels completely normal. There is no floating, no swimming mechanics, just your party strolling along the seabed like it's any other terrain. It is surreal in the best way, like someone dropped you into a fantasy version of Bikini Bottom, minus the slapstick and sea sponge drama. What really makes Flying Waters shine is the world building. Above you, giant sea creatures glide through the water, casting massive shadows as you pass under vibrant coral reefs. Around every corner, there's something worth stopping for. A half-buried shipwreck, glowing sea plants, or a forgotten naval mine just waiting to be uncovered. And it is not just about visuals either. There are treasures, secrets, and even a few well-hidden story clues if you're willing to look closely. The area constantly rewards exploration, and it never feels like filler. Even though you visit Flying Waters pretty early in the game, it leaves a lasting impression. It is not just another pretty zone, it is a place that feels magical without trying too hard. The combination of creative level design, stunning visuals, and subtle mystery makes it unforgettable. Long after you have moved on to darker, more serious places, Flying Waters will still be floating around in the back of your mind, like a dream you are not quite ready to wake up from. Cyrene is one of those places in Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, that really commands your attention the moment you step inside. Opening up alongside Visages at the end of Act 2, this location offers a completely different vibe. You might want to save it for after you face the other Axon as recommended, because the experience feels more impactful that way. When you finally arrive, you'll be struck by the colossal Colosseum dominating the landscape, an arena that instantly tells you something epic is about to go down. What sets Cyrene apart is how straightforward and intense it feels compared to other areas. Your objective is always right there in the middle of that crumbling stadium, and you have to figure out how to navigate the ruins to reach it. The architecture itself tells a story. Despite the decay, the Colosseum is strangely held together by countless silk cloths fluttering in the wind, which gives the place a haunting, almost fragile beauty. It's like the environment is part of the boss fight, echoing the elegance and danger of the enemy waiting inside. Even after you've defeated the boss, Cyrene doesn't lose its impact. The stadium remains a stunning, eerie monument that feels like an extension of the battle itself. It's a place that sticks with you, not just because of the fight, but because of the atmosphere and design that perfectly blend together. Cyrene is a reminder of how Clair Obscur can take a classic boss arena and turn it into a memorable, immersive experience that's as beautiful as it is brutal. The Monolith is that bittersweet spot in Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, where your journey almost feels like it's coming full circle. It's the sixth and final location in Act 2, right before you head back to Lumiere for the epic finale. What makes it stand out isn't just its length, it's that it cleverly weaves together parts of the other areas you've already explored. So, as you make your way through, you're basically taking a stroll down memory lane with your party, revisiting old battlegrounds and familiar paths. Walking through the monolith feels like the game's way of reminding you just how far you've come. You pass through echoes of Spring Meadows, the eerie ruins of Old Lumiere, and even the haunting halls of Cyrene. Each section is loaded with memories of battles fought and challenges overcome. It's a smart design choice that makes the journey toward the climax feel more meaningful because it's not just about pushing forward, it's about reflecting on everything that led you here. And then, just when you're caught up in that nostalgia, the monolith launches you into the unforgettable final showdown with the Paintress. It's like the calm before the storm, building anticipation with every step. This area perfectly balances exploration, storytelling, and emotional weight, making it a fitting last stop before the grand finale. The monolith isn't just a location, it's the bridge between the adventure you've had and the conclusion you're about to face. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.